Over to help you, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman from Louisiana, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Lewandowski, my colleague, Mr. Jeffries, just started that last line of questioning with a sort of an admonition to you. He said, this is the House Judiciary Committee and not a political forum, and it would be nice if you recognize that. I think it'd be nice if all the members of this committee would recognize that, because that's the reason that this has turned into such a farce. It's been said so many times today, this committee is so important to the country. It has one of the broadest jurisdictions over so many critical issues that are facing the country. You referenced some of this in your opening statement, and I, among many of my colleagues, are ready to get to that work for the American people, but we're here today. There hasn't been any fireworks. Oh, there's a lot of disappointed people around, operatives around the country who are really hoping that there'd be fireworks, but we're not surprised at all. I have a couple of questions just for clarification for the record, but first, is there anything that's been said here, any question that you've been asked about or something that you would like to provide further comment on, just to clarify the record?
No, sir.
All right, in questioning today, is the majority investigating any new allegation or issue or fact not already investigated by the House and Senate Intel committees or the Special Counsel's Office?
Not to the best of my knowledge.
Do you have any more information on any other matter related to either collusion or obstruction that you can offer to this committee that you have not already shared with Congress or the Special Counsel's Office?
I don't believe I have any new information.
In your prior testimony to the Special Counsel, is it true that you answered every question asked of you truthfully and to the best of your ability and your recollection?
To the best of my recollection, I did answer truthfully, yes.
A couple of things just for further clarification. We're afraid that some of this record will be obscured today, so these will just be quick rapid fire. Do you agree there is no evidence the President intended to obstruct justice?
I do.
Do you agree that the President has been harassed politically since the day he took office?
Yes, I do.
Do you agree that the President's supporters have received vastly different treatment than the supporters of Hillary Clinton?
Unequivocally.
You've called this a witch hunt, and I wonder if you'd like to elaborate on that any further.
I think that this fake Russia collusion narrative is the greatest crime committed against the American people in our generation, if not ever. This is a president who was duly elected by the American people, and members of certain bodies refuse to accept those election results. If this were done by a different president to a different party, the same way it was done to Donald Trump, that person would already be thrown out of office and people would be in jail. But when you support Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, there's a different set of rules. I think the American people find it very unfair, and there's been no accountability at the highest levels of the government for the Pfizer abuse applications which transpired, the spying on Americans clearly in violation of the Fourth Amendment, or the lives that were ruined because they simply wanted to support a candidate for President of the United States, and I think it's shameful.
We do as well, and that's a pretty good recitation of some of the issues that are keeping us up at night. Part of the thing that we're greatly concerned about is the American people's distrust now of our institutions. When people begin to doubt that the rule of law actually applies equally, that justice really is blind in this country, then we reach somewhat of a tipping point. It's very difficult to put that genie back in the bottle, and we're concerned. I know the Republicans and the conservatives on this committee are deeply concerned about the eroding faith in our institutions. I'm thankful that you've come to take the hostile fire today. I commend you for that. I commend you for your story being self-made. And one of the things I'm also concerned about is young people who are watching this who may have a disincentive to get into politics and to serve their country in this way because of this abuse that they've suffered. Yield to Mr. Jordan.
I thank the gentleman for yielding. Real quick, Mr. Lewandowski, you know why you didn't get a defensive briefing from the FBI?
I do not.
I got a good idea. I think they were trying to trap the president. Page 17 of the Inspector General's report points this out. January 6, 2017, they go up to the Trump Tower when it's President-elect Trump, and they're trying to set him up about a pending investigation. All the while, Mr. Comey's been telling the president, you're not under investigation. Of course, they didn't give you a defensive briefing during the campaign or even up until that date, because they were trying to set him up. But we can't ask about that because Mr. Nadler hasn't even thought about when he's going to bring Mr. Horowitz in to answer our questions. He'd rather subpoena you even though you're willing to come voluntarily. That's the problem. I thank the gentleman for his good line of question. Thank him for yielding. I yield back.
Thank the gentleman from Ohio, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Gentleman yields back. The gentleman from Rhode Island.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Lewandowski, in between your first meeting on June 19th and your second meeting with the president on July 19th, you went on vacation. And also during that time, there was public reporting about the Trump Tower meeting, correct? This is on page 92.
If it's in the report, I believe it to be accurate.
And on July 19th, when the president for a second time asked you to deliver the message to Sessions, you said, and I quote, the message would be delivered soon, page 93. Correct?
Page 93.
But you didn't. You didn't call Jeff Sessions. You didn't try to meet with him. So the president asked you twice in the Oval Office to deliver a secret message to the Attorney General of the United States, a message that you quickly wrote down word for word at the president's direction, correct? Sir?
I believe I wrote it down.
Yeah. And when you worked for the president during his campaign, did you ever ignore or disobey directions from candidate Trump?
I didn't believe it to be in order.
Just to be clear, although you were not working for the president in any capacity, you wanted to give the president the impression that you were going to follow his orders, correct?
No.
Well, you said, I'm going to take care of it.
Is that referenced in the report?
Did you tell the president you were going to deliver the message?
I can't comment on private conversations
sir,
with the
it's
president
on
to preserve
page-
executive privilege.
I'm sorry?
I could read you the exact statement again if you'd like me
Well,
to. I said the White House has
Mr.
directed that I not
Lewandowski,
disclose
so
the
you're
substance
in
of
the
any
Oval
discussions with the
Office.
president or his
Mr. Lewandowski,
advisors to
reclaiming
protect
my
executive
time.
branch
You're not going to
confidentiality.
stonewall me in my questioning.
Would you like me to answer your question?
Your head must have been spinning. You're here with the President of the United States in the Oval Office. He's directing you to deliver a message to the chief law enforcement officer in the United States, which you understood would effectively end the ongoing investigation into this president and his campaign. So you told the president that the message would be delivered soon. But then, this is on page 93, you immediately following the meeting with the president, you gave Dearborn the message the president had dictated to be delivered to Sessions, correct?
I believe that's what the report says.
And you didn't tell the president that you'd already asked Dearborn to deliver the message. You just said it would be delivered soon. This is on page 92, correct? It's on page 92. You didn't want to tell the president that you were passing off his message to someone else, did you? You knew he wanted you, someone he had described as his enforcer, a loyal soldier, to do it because the president trusted you. Isn't that right?
That's a question for the president, sir.
Then, well, why didn't you then deliver the message to Mr. Dearborn, to Jeff Sessions directly? Why did you give it to Mr. Dearborn to do?
I think I've testified I was out of town.
For 2 weeks.
I don't live in town,
Okay.
Congressman.
Mr.
Unlike you,
Lewandowski-
sir, I don't live in town.
During your second meeting in the Oval Office, the president told you that if Sessions wouldn't meet with you, to tell him he was fired. Did you, Mr. Lewandowski, ever threaten the Attorney General that if he didn't meet with you, he would be fired?
No.
Did you tell Mr. Dearborn to tell Sessions that he would be fired if he didn't take this meeting as the president directed?
Congressman, the White House has directed not to disclose the substance of any discussion with the president or his advisors to protect executive branch confidentiality.
The reason you didn't tell the president that was because you know that it was wrong. And the president, isn't that correct?
No.
Well, the president wasn't aware that you ignored his directive to tell Jeff Sessions he was fired if he didn't meet with you, was he?
I'm sorry, what was the question?
I'll move on. In fact, to prove to the Attorney General that the threat was real, 4 days later, on July 22nd, the president directed Priebus, his chief of staff, to obtain Sessions' resignation. That's on the slide in front of you. The president told Priebus that he had to get Sessions to resign immediately. Did you know that?
No.
This evidence as a whole strongly suggests that the president was reinforcing to Sessions that his job was on the line at the same time as the president believed you were delivering the message to end the investigation into the 2016 campaign. And all of this made everyone very uncomfortable, including Mr. Dearborn, which is at page 93. And he told you that he was uncomfortable being a messenger to Sessions, correct?
No.
Well, were you aware when you asked Rick Dearborn to deliver this message to the Attorney General on behalf of the President of the United States, it created the same legal culpability for you as that you delivered the message yourself? Are you aware of that?
Congressman, the president didn't ask me to do anything illegal, and he never asked me to keep anything a secret.
Are you aware that when you asked Mr. Dearborn to deliver this message to end the investigation and just focus on future investigations, you thought you were protecting yourself, but you were in fact committing a crime? Rick Dearborn knew delivering the message was wrong, You knew it was wrong. That's why even after being asked to deliver it and saying you'd handle it soon, you passed it off to him and you never followed up. And guess what? I also think it's very, very wrong. In fact, I think the president asking a private citizen to try to scare his attorney general into ending the investigation into the president's conduct is obstruction of justice, plain and simple.